So, hi Alex, Namaste.
Namaste, Namushkar. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here on your show. Obviously, I've taken a look through a bunch of your videos. I have a couple of questions for you because it's all in Bengali, and I unfortunately can't speak Bengali. But I guess we'll chat about some of the videos as the interview goes on because I'm very curious about your perspective on a number of things.
Yeah, so the first thing is that you have been working in so many industries. In India, especially you worked in web series like Inside Edge, where there is a lot of research
Mhm,
budget. You've worked in film like Lucifer, where you have like
mhm,
almost 100 for 100 days you're shooting. You have been a part of Tamil films also, where you have a lot of
mhm,
budget and resource. But compared to that, Bengali cinema does not provide you that kind of resources. We don't have so
mhm.
many days, so it's challenging in a way. But still, you
Yeah.
coming back to Bengali cinema. A lot of times we have seen you in multiple films. So what is that
Mhm.
X factor of Bengali cinema that brings you back to our state?
I'll tell you something. The more than Bengali cinema, what's been bringing me back to West Bengal has been a couple of things. Number one, it's I think one of the most beautiful parts of the country. And not to go too far back into history, it's actually not that far back at all. But Kolkata being the capital of colonial India means that there's so much beautiful architecture there. And it's always a treat to just walk around because you know the most beautiful buildings I think in all of India are located in your city. Um, so there are lots of cities that I've lived in and worked in, like New York, that are skyscrapers. A cafe or an apartment or an office may get 1 minute of sunshine a day, and that's sad. Kolkata is not a skyscraper city. It's not intimidating like that. It has a lot of class and a lot of charm. So the love of the city has brought me back. Whether it's Bengali cinema or Hindi cinema, put the language aside for a moment. The first introduction I had to the city was actually shooting Chittagong, which is a beautiful Hindi language film. That was the first time that Rajkumar Rao and I worked together. I had the opportunity of working with Manoj Bajpayee and Barry John and Nawazuddin Siddiqui in that film. So even though it was a Hindi film, we did spend a lot of time shooting in West Bengal because that's where it was set. The Chittagong Uprising, obviously, was the subject of the film. But after that, I shot Bo's Dead or Alive there, and it was only after my second Hindi project, in Bo's Dead or Alive, once again with Rajkumar Rao, and an excellent cast on that as well. But it was only after my second Hindi project that I shot my first Bengali project, which was Ethiopi John with Srijit Mukherjee, and Prasenjit Chatterjee, and such an amazing cast there as well. So really, my introduction to West Bengal was not through Bengali cinema, but the people that I met in West Bengal. Beto Brata Payne, for example, who directed Chittagong, is such an incredible artist. Putting aside film, even, I'd gone to some house parties of friends and colleagues in West Bengal, and it's like everyone is a professional musician. You have your dinner, you have some dessert, and then people break out in song, and then one person's playing the piano, and one person can play a harmonium, and it's truly amazing. I think that the way that the arts are appreciated in West Bengal is beyond perhaps anywhere else that I've been. It's truly spectacular how there's so much artistic talent and appreciation in that particular region of the country. And I think that's wonderful. So now we can come to your point. Budgets are not as big in West Bengal. And it's true. And I appreciate you've done your research, you know the industry well. I'd say budgets can be 30% less or even less than that compared to Hindi cinema. And then Tamil cinema, you're in Chennai, I would say those are some of the biggest budget projects in the country. But I think that in West Bengal, whether it's Ethiopi John, where we shot in Kolkata, West Bengal, and also Switzerland, or Reka, where we shot in Sikkim, I think that people that are working in Bengali cinema really know how to stretch a rupee. They know how to make the most of it. We don't overshoot. There are a lot of films that I've shot in Hindi and English where you could have made a 3-hour film with the footage we shot. In Bengali, I feel like what we shoot is what you see. There's you don't overdo it. You don't keep taking 30 takes. You don't shoot scenes that don't end up in the final edit. Basically, by the time you're finished shooting the film or the series, you kind of know what's in it, and very little of what has been shot is cut. So I don't know. I'm not sure if it's because of that artistic sensibility that's really at the core of Bengali culture, or if it's just knowing the environment well enough to be able to pull as much out of it as possible. But I don't think that the budget means that the content is any less captivating. In fact, I'm just as proud, if not prouder, of the work that I've done in West Bengal than anywhere else in the world. So that's my very long answer to your very short question. I keep coming back to West Bengal because I absolutely love being there. I love working with the people that I've been able to work with, whether it's Prasenjit Chatterjee or now Dave Adhikari, Banerjee and Srijit Mukherjee, some of the biggest names, not just in Bengali cinema, but respected all over the country and many of them all over the world. So yeah, I think it's more than anything else, the acceptance and the enjoyment that I've had from the West Bengal people in the West Bengal region that keep me coming back.
Thank you. That was nice to hear actually from you. Now you, in this film, particularly Golondaaj, you're playing the lead antagonist. And there is kind of tussle between this Nagendra Prasad Sharbadikari and your character. There's a continuous tussle. But most of the films that are made in India and including every kind of cinema, all regional languages, what we see is when we see a Britisher as a villain, as an antagonist character, in mostly 90% of the film, they become like a caricaturish character. Like they speak Hindi in an English accent, and they are not human. They are treated as cardboard villains. So, yeah, you have done a film called Saira Narasimha Reddy. If you see, I'm not telling you you're part of the film, but that film has that kind of treatment that all British officers, they don't have a human side. So you try to avoid that caricaturish treatment in this particular film and try to bring a human side to it?
Always. I think that if you were to look at my IMDb, you'll see that maybe 30% of my characters that I've played have been of a negative shade. Maybe 30% have been positive, and 30% are somewhere in between. It's really, I think, the responsibility of the actor to make the character multidimensional, just as much as it's the responsibility of the writer, producer, director. Look, it's always a team effort when you're making a film. No one can make a film on their own. Very few people can make a film on their own. I don't know, maybe people have in the past, but I certainly can't envision it happening very easily. And when you're a writer or a director, your focus is spread amongst maybe your 5 characters or 10 or 15, or in a film like this, Golondaaj, you've got a whole field full of football players that you're splitting your attention amongst. And that naturally means that you're going to write them to an extent, and then you're going to be ready to shoot. Now, the actor's job is to take what the director and the producer and the writer have made and to flesh it out, to make it real, to make it human, to make it believable. Now, obviously, there are writers and there are producers and directors that take it farther than others. I remember, working on Urmi, for example, with Santosh Shivan, who basically said, look, the character's yours. What would he do in this scene? What would he do in this moment? You tell me. Because essentially, the actor's thinking of just one character, whereas the writer's attention is spread among all of them. And they have to give as much attention as they can, but they only have that much to give. With the actor, it's just one character. You need to do your homework. You need to make it multifaceted, multidimensional, and real. And I think in Golondaaj, when you watch it, I think you'll obviously recognize that these are 2 very opposed viewpoints on the world, Nagendra Prasad's and Major Jackson's. But there are reasons why they do what they do. Just like Nagendra Prasad isn't a caricature in a positive way, he has reasons why he does what he does. And so does Frederick Jackson. And I think that's the key to making a non-caricature portrayal of a role. If someone is just killing puppies on the way to work for no reason, that's when you know that someone's not done their homework. But if you see why they do the things they do, and if you can almost stretch your imagination and think, okay, you know what, I disagree with them, but I understand why, then the actor's done his job. And I think that that's what I try to do in every role that I portray. A caricature is no fun for anyone. You know, I've had this discussion in the past with many of my directors who've told me, look, Alex, when I've played an antagonist, for example, the antagonist needs to be more powerful than the protagonist, or else there's no journey of the protagonist. If the antagonist is weak, then what does the protagonist really overcome? Nothing really. So in Golondaaj, you have Nagendra Prasad Sarbarikari, who's kind of wrestling against something so much stronger than him. And if it wasn't stronger than him, where's the struggle? Where's the triumph? Where's the journey? So that's what Frederick Jackson embodies in this particular film. But obviously, once again, as you've said, it has to be human, has to be believable, or else it's just ridiculous. So hopefully that comes across in the film. And I think that it does. There are very good reasons, and I don't want to reveal it, but there are very good reasons why Frederick Jackson does what he does. And I'll leave it to the audience to see whether or not we've done our job in portraying that properly.
I would like to know that this role is a physically demanding role because you have to practice football a lot. I know you have been part of Inside Edge where you have played cricket. It was also a sports-based thing. So what was the preparation that you did for this role, and how challenging was it?
Prepared for my whole life. I prepared my whole life for this role. I'm joking, but in seriousness, I've played football since I was a little kid, and I've always loved football. It's been my favorite sport since I was a child. I'm here in Mumbai right now. I play as much as possible with my friends in Bandra. For those of you that are familiar with Mumbai, we have a sports club in Bandra that has small quarter-size football pitches. So it's a 6-on-6 game. It's never-ending action, lots of goals, and lots of fun. And that was actually a lot of the preparation that I did for the physicality of the film, was just play more football. I tried to play 3 or 4 times a week. I actually brought along some of my friends that play with me here in Mumbai to be part of my team in West Bengal when we were shooting, which was lovely to have my friends along with me. We had a fabulous time shooting, but that doesn't take away from the fact that it was physically demanding. In fact, at one point, I'm pretty sure that most of the cast had suffered at least one injury. I know Dave had actually broken his toe. I had sprained multiple muscles. And before shooting the last schedule of the film, we took 8 months off. Now, that's a long time, but it takes a long time for a body to recover. And I think that taking that time off helped us to come back and finish the film really strong. Football is a very, very demanding sport, in my opinion. Inside Edge about cricket. Cricket is not a sport that I grew up with. I'd never heard of cricket before I came to India, to be very honest. I enjoyed playing. I enjoyed learning. We went to Pune and we used to play all night from sunset to sunrise. We'd play in the stadium in Pune, and it was a wonderful experience. But my heart is not in cricket. My heart is in football. I've always played it. I've always loved it. Even though in the US it's not a huge sport, in the Netherlands where I live, it is. It's very big. Every town has its own football team. And that's another thing I love about West Bengal, is how football is the primary sport. And you know, it's just it's a wonderful kind of context within which to tell the story of India pushing back against the colonial power in the context of football, because, you know, it was the Britishers' game, right, that the Indians then beat them at. And there's some added joy in that. There's some added power in beating someone at their own game. And so that's, and we can talk about the meaning of the film a bit later. But that to me is kind of the tastiest part of this movie, is that it really is beating them at their own game. And I'm also from a former British colony, the United States. Obviously, we had our revolution as well. But I think that since the Indian revolt, since the Indian independence was achieved only 60 some odd years ago, it's so tangible for people here. Your founding fathers of your republic lived in the last generation. Nagendra Prasad Sabardikari, I think, died in 1950. That was so recent. When I think about George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, sorry, not Abraham, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, over 300 years ago or so, they were living. So it's very removed from me. But that's one thing I love about India, is the history is, or at least the history of the modern republic is so tangible because it's so recent.
Alex, I have a last request and you have to keep it. Apart from being an actor, you are a great musician. So can we hear a piece from you?
Yeah, sure. Have you, I hope you've listened to Still on My Mind and 20 Days. Those are available on all streaming platforms and also on YouTube, Alexx Nell Music. So please check it out. The beautiful and talented Shama Sikandar features in both of my debut music videos, Still on My Mind and 20 Days. Give me just 1 second. Let me set up so that I can play something for you.
Yes.
You're the first one that's asking me these interviews because I'm only talking about Golondaaj these days, but let's see if it works. You're still on my mind. Like an insolent child, I try to freeze us in time. Pretend you're still mine, and I'll try till the moment I die to make amends for my crimes. There's not enough time, but I don't wanna be a spotlight. I don't wanna follow you down. I don't wanna be the man, the reason for your frown. I don't wanna be a spotlight. I could never follow you down. And you said, you're all that I want. I can't live without you. You're all that I need. I can't live without you. You're all that I have. I can't live without you now. How do you live without me now? How do you live without me now? How do you live without me now? You live without me now. You live without me now. And I said, you're all that I want. I can't live without you. You're all that I need. I can't live without you. You're all that I have. I can't live without you now. How do you live without me now?
Whoa. It was great. It was great, actually.
Thanks. I know my voice is a little rough. I've been dubbing Golondaaj, last minute dubbing for Golondaaj, so I apologize. But do check out the song on YouTube, also Spotify, Ghana, Savan, Hangama, all of the platforms all over the world. And also, I have to mention this. When I look at my analytics and my distributor tells me where people are listening to my music, whether it's the artistic culture, whether it's the fact that a lot of people speak English or whatever it is, so many views and downloads are coming from West Bengal. So when I'm there, I'm getting there this coming week on Monday. I look forward to finally thanking in person all of the folks that have supported me, not just as an actor, but as a musician. So thank you, and thank all of your listeners. This has really been a wonderful opportunity to speak with you.
Thank you so much, Alex. Thank you so much, and all the best wishes for your upcoming project, and especially for Golondaaj.
Really appreciate all the support that everyone is giving to Golondaaj. It's really wonderful. It's a very important film. It's a beautiful movie, and I hope you like it. I look forward to your review.
Namaskar.
Namaste. Namaskar.